Hey, how's everybody doing? We're going to get into a conversation today about these topics on Timcast IRL. We're not trying to troll anybody or anything. We just, some people let us know about this a long time ago. So we've kind of watched, his podcast, and there was some stuff that they brought up on there, and we're going to dissect a little bit of it just so I would prefer people to actually go and watch the whole thing and support his work because his company is doing some good things, and it will let people hear a different side to what's going on, and not everybody gets everything right. Our biggest thing here is to, try and give a free and open conversation on our channel to any information that comes up and dissect it, give our opinions, and then, see what people, what their comments and agreements or disagreements are. We're not here to explain or tell people what to do. We're just giving honest opinions. And on this podcast that Tim has, there was two guests that came on. Two of them were Congress, Thomas and Marginally, and both of them, brought up some things that go on in Congress. And we were just going to, go over a couple of them, but they get into a lot of details in this video and on this podcast, and they're great people. Politics might not, be something people agree with every time, but they do try and give, somewhat of a understanding and their own beliefs in what they think. But here, let's go ahead and play some of this.
There was a period of time where if you'd been vaccinated, you could take your mask off.
Right.
And most of Congress had been vaccinated. So they asked Pelosi, and she said, until every member of Congress is vaccinated, everybody's going to wear a mask. And I realized, okay, the mask rule is now morphing into a vaccine rule.
Yep.
And so I organized, I don't want to say I led, but I organized 10 members of Congress, and Marjorie was among them, to go to the floor of the House and notoriously and openly violate this mask rule in front of the C-SPAN camera.
Now, to recommend or notify anybody that we do not give confrontation or any kind of argument for people's individual health care, private health care, or anything like that. Please go see a doctor. We do not give out medical information to people. We do not, what we do on this channel or content we create, we do not put out stuff that, we do not have financial advice, we do not have medical advice. We just comment on things. So we do not, we have no medical profession or medical or financial advice. We don't, neither one's on that, and I would just want to put that disclosure out there on our video. So we'll continue.
And we were promptly fined for our transgressions. And if she had just sent the bill to Georgia for Marjorie's case, or to Kentucky in my case, she would have been fine. We would have thrown them in the trash and she wouldn't have got her money. But what she did is she reduced our salaries.
That's right.
Whoa.
Takes it off on the front end.
How does she do that? Well, she violates the Constitution to do it because the Constitution says that the salaries are set by law and drawn from the Treasury. To be set by law, a law has to pass the Senate and be signed by the President. The 27th Amendment to the Constitution, the very last one to be ratified in 1992, but suggested during the Bill of Rights, says that congressional salaries can't vary without an intervening election. Now, why did they do that? A lot of people think it was so we wouldn't give ourselves a raise. That could be partly true, but in reality, if you go back and look at the debates, they decided if anybody could get control of a person's sustenance of their salary, they could bend their will pretty easily. And so they made.
That's kind of an interesting thing he brought up under the 27th Amendment, I think is what he said. That they set it up to where, most people, and I kind of believe, we kind of believe in, it's to make sure the salary doesn't go out of control with Congress on the people. But on top of that, there's this other thing where people in Congress, if they were able to get a hold of someone's salary, could they bend or twist their arm to get them to side with them? And I think that's where they're stating here that Congress is actually doing something. Some people in Congress are doing these things that they shouldn't. They had a podcast episode where, the congresswoman came on and she explained that people were voting without going and actually putting their vote tally in. They were what they called yelling the vote. So it'd just sit there and stand up and say, all right, who's opposed to this? Yay or nay? Yays, let's have it. And then they'd turn around and say, okay, yays win. Bam, they slam after everybody screams what they want. And then move on to the next bill. And then they scream that out. And it's not that many people in the thing.
Sure that you couldn't vary it until there was an election.
Unless you're rich.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, Marjorie's got $100,000 of fines.
Oh, the next thing they did, because they figured out they can't stop me from refusing to wear a mask, because they figured out I truly will not stop doing it no matter how much they fine me. And we are going to have a very successful lawsuit. I'm thrilled about it. He's explained it perfectly. So they sent a letter. A letter was sent to Sergeant at Arms saying that they should put anyone without a mask up into the COVID box. And no one really, the public doesn't know about the COVID box because it's not in view of the C-SPAN cameras. The COVID box, Nancy Pelosi had it built right before the vote for Speaker of the House in January of 2021. It is a plexiglass box up in the corner of the House chamber. Now, the plexiglass doesn't go all the way to the ceiling, and it's supposed to be the original design was for any House member to go there if they were sick or having symptoms of COVID-19. It wasn't for well people, unvaccinated people, or people without mask. It was only for sick people. But then Catherine Clark, who called Representative Catherine Clark, sent a letter to the Sergeant at Arms because they're so offended at me or Thomas or anyone not wearing a mask, and they want to put us up in the COVID box.
In the penalty box?
Yes.
I body check you up into the penalty box?
This is beyond. When I think about how bad Congress is, the first time you came, Marjorie, and explained how they don't even really.
And there's Tim's, gonna give his opinions, but this is how crazy I'd say Congress is, putting people up in certain areas saying, hey, due to certain things. And as I said, we do not describe medical information. We do not give medical advice or financial advice. But in Congress, this is kind of a little bit like putting a box in a certain spot to to where, okay, since you people don't want to listen to us and you offend us or you know, whatever, we feel we're going to put you in a different area of Congress, away from where the camera is, away from where everybody can't see you. No one will hear you. No one will get to recognize you. That's kind of, to me, weird and awkward. Like, didn't we have that problem, like, in history where people were shafted in this country? I mean, I don't know if please comment if I understand, but I'm pretty sure, if you know where I'm going with this, there's, a point where people were shafted in Congress and certain things happen.
Really vote on the bills. They just like aye, nay, and then it's just like done. It sounds like Congress isn't a real thing. It's like a theater to make Americans think there's something actually being done about our problems.
Speaking of theater, do you remember the title of this person who wants us in the box now?
Yes. Oh, yes. What was her title?
Assistant Speaker.
Assistant Speaker of the House.
We think that her real title is Assistant to the Speaker.
Right.
And then she just marked out.
That's an joke from The Office.
Yeah.
By Dwight Schrute.
Yes, it is. Yes, Ian, that's right.
The
I think
Dwight
it's-
reference.
I think it's funny that we're all sitting here laughing, and it sounds like the institution is just completely in decay and falling apart.
Oh, it
It's
gets
scary, right?
worse. We can tell you more.
Well, I was the guy that everybody hated. By the way,
But yeah, I would recommend if people got, it's 2-hour podcast. But yeah, I would recommend people go and watch and subscribe truthfully to Tim Pool or Timcast IRL. Like it states up here. Because they got a good company and a good group going forward. And I think, they're more better than CNN. And I think they're up there above Fox. I think they're right with the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro. I think these people actually, try and have open and honest conversations. And sometimes it gets into certain areas where questionable not, but it's, it's open conversations. And to me, or to this, to us here on our channel, we think, anybody having open conversations respectfully and responsibly, that's fine. But going out there and shaming people or saying, well, this is offensive to me and you're offending this and you're offending that, eventually everybody's going to be offended and nobody's going to be able to have a First Amendment. And if people don't get, the First Amendment, I'd please recommend going and looking at one of our videos we have on that. We're trying to build we're making a slide or a little section for content where it explains some of the first 10 Bill of Rights. My bad. I was kind of like paused, like had a brain fart there. But that's what it is people are openly discussing, his company has a great setup. People have tried to swat him, people went after him. Same with these two Congress people. They've had people come after them, things like that. They've tried, using mob mentality. So that's, to me, that's not constitutionally right. And I know people are like, what's, constitutionally right? I'm like, look, open discussion and debate. And if you disagree, that's cool. But I'm not going to sit here and deny somebody else's speech, or we're not gonna go down that route. We're not gonna give crazies. We're not gonna assess on the crazy people. like people that have supremacy issues or things like that, or believe in, the world's flat, that kind of like, eh, sorry, those kind of things out there, we're not going to go that way. It's kind of funny, to make those jokes, but we're not actually going to take it past the joking. That's the whole point. Is it's a good joke, but if it goes to the serious edge, now you're kind of going into craziness. Which, these people are, to me, a very good company, a very good group. They express their opinions for the last probably 5-6 years, maybe a decade for at least. But that's, something that people need to think about is, do they want to have open civil conversations, or do people want to silence everybody to point where, somebody's going to get arrested just for saying a sentence? And that's where I kind of, this stuff's already happening in Congress to me. They're silencing, they're putting them in small confined areas. That is a very risky part, and I'd like to know your opinions, whoever watches, and I'd appreciate you subscribe and help us get growing. We're really trying to, we want to build something that's, way different than Hollywood, way different than news. We want to, and way different than, Timcast. We want to go somewhere where, the stars are the limits, and conversations and films, movies, anything like, we want to reach where the stars are, kind of thing. I know a lot of people use, metaphors and things like that, but that's, our kind of our goal is to reach into the stars and create something in a different area where people don't think there's a lot or much for things. And that's what we would like to do, is grow something into something better for society and people, and get some of the hatred and craziness out of these discussions. But please like, share, subscribe. It would definitely help us, and we will catch you on the next one.